Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You come into your office, grab a cup of coffee,
Morning, Fred.
and a Xerox machine presents your morning mail on a screen.
What's the mail this morning? This one looks interesting. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to need a couple of copies of this.
Push a button, and the words and images you see on the screen appear on paper.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fred. You know, Fred, I think everybody on the routing list should see this.
Push another button, and the information is sent electronically to similar units around the corner or around the world. This is an experimental office system. It's in use now at the Xerox Research Center in Palo Alto, California. Soon, Xerox systems like this will help you manage your most precious resource, information.
Anything else? Flowers. Well, what flowers? My anniversary. I forgot.
Apple Computer, the epitome of the American dream. In 1977, a company with sales of 774,000. Today, a company with annual sales approaching 600 million, on the threshold of being the youngest company ever to make the Fortune 500. At the root of Apple's success lies the world's first personal computer. The Apple II, small, inexpensive, simple to use. The first computer an individual could take out of the box, plug in, and run. Bringing computing down to a personal level. One person, one computer. Throughout the world, more than 750,000 Apple IIs are being used, the largest installed base of any computer manufacturer. With the most software and peripherals, all of this makes Apple the personal tool for a wide array of markets. Business, home, education, science. But the personal computer market has not stood still. Advances in technology and design occur almost daily. Today, there are more than 100 personal computers to choose from. Apple maintains its leadership role by using advanced technology to improve the industry's #1 product. To reaffirm its commitment to this winning product, Apple has enhanced the Apple II to meet consumers' and dealers' broadening expectations about personal computing. Apple has taken the Apple II, refined its design, and added some of the most popular features available on personal computers. The result is the Apple IIe, a personal computer that is more reliable and easier to use. In fact, it's the most personal computer.
In 1976, when Woz and I designed the Apple II, what we tried to do was use the state-of-the-art technology available to us at that time to create a product that had a greater value for a computer than had ever before been realized. And I think we achieved that because Apple II went on to be the largest selling computer in the history of the world, and still is. But we want to continually bring this experience of using a computer to more and more people. And we embarked upon a program approximately 24 months ago to take this best-selling computer in the world and increase its value even further by using the state-of-the-art technology available to us today that wasn't available in 1976. And as a result, we've created the 2E. The same old 2, but implemented with 1983 technology. But you know, the 2E is better than the 2. And my hat's off to the 2E team. It's better than Woz and I did in 1976.
So what you're probably wondering is why we call it the Apple IIe and not the 2 plus plus or the 2 plus extra plus or even Mary or Diana. Well, the E stands for enhanced. We've redesigned the Apple II, made it simpler, more reliable, and enhanced it with built-in features that are important to today's users. What we've done is to make the most popular personal computer ever used in business, homes, schools, and laboratories even more useful for these markets. First, we made it more powerful to handle larger tasks and more sophisticated programs. The Apple IIe has 64K of user memory, and the ROM has been boosted to 16K. And we've added a powerful control program with BASIC built in, so the system comes up smart. We modified the keyboard to make it easier to use. It's now a standard typewriter keyboard with special keys, easy cursor movement, tab function, caps lock, and a host of other additions, giving the keyboard a full 128 ASCII upper-lowercase character set with 63 keys. Also, an upper-lowercase display is standard, so you never have to add a lowercase accessory. And we're offering a low-cost, plug-in 80-column card, developed especially for the IIe. But that's not all. Improved peripheral ports make connecting cables to peripheral cards easier. You can even lock the top to keep prying fingers out. Plus, the IIe has an even more reliable design. We've dramatically decreased the number of components necessary on the motherboard, which is to say, we've increased reliability and made service even easier for you.
Now, Timex brings the power of the computer within reach of more people than ever before. Introducing the Timex Sinclair 1000, the first of a new generation of computers designed to be easier to use and to own. For $99.95, power to learn at the speed of light, power to organize with unfailing accuracy. The Timex Sinclair 1000, the power is within your reach.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Many of us work at two desks. We have the electronic desk of the workstation, and we have the physical desk of the paper pusher. Now, these two desks are very separate. Manipulating objects on the workstation is very different from manipulating objects on the real desk. We have the desktop metaphor, which is supposed to make them more similar. And some people think that it can be extended to the point where you can do everything on the workstation that we currently do on our desks, replacing them entirely. But what if we took the opposite approach? What if, instead of making the workstation more like the desk, we made the real desk more like the workstation? We wouldn't need a desktop metaphor because it would literally be a desktop. The digital desk has a couple of video cameras here that point down at the desk so the system can see what the user is doing. There's also a computer display that's projected down onto the desk. The result is still an ordinary desk, but it has some characteristics of an electronic workstation. As I move my hand above the desk, the camera can see where I'm pointing, and the cursor follows my finger. This allows me to use the electronic side of the digital desk, much as an electronic workstation, using my finger instead of the mouse. That's why it's the digital desk. I can use this much as an ordinary calculator. 8 times 6 equals 48. Often when we use a calculator, we are simply typing in numbers that are already printed on a piece of paper lying on the desk. This example shows how an application might make use of the digital desk. If we have numbers printed on a piece of paper like this price list, I can put them into this window, and instead of typing in the number, I can simply point at it, 390, and it appears in the window of the calculator as though I had typed it. And I can perform an operation on it, multiply it by 2, and get 780. The camera sees where I point and OCRs the number and puts it into the calculator. Now, what might the digital desk be like in a few years? I'm going to show you 3 short scenarios that will illustrate what it might be like in the future. You'll see each scenario twice. The first time you'll just see it in use, and the second time I'll explain what's going on behind the scenes.
My deadline's tomorrow. Now, where's that paper I wanted to have a look at and make some notes from? Let's have a look. There we are. I just want to take this diagram here and make a copy of it. Good. Now, I want to make a comment about that underneath, so I'll just type it in here. And then there was that paragraph, that one. I'll copy that over as well. Fine.
Now let's see what the system did. When he selected that figure, the camera saw where his fingers were, and the projector projected that black rectangle for feedback. The camera actually read the bitmap right off the page in order to allow him to paste it into his electronic document. When he's using the keyboard, it's just like typing into an electronic document on an ordinary workstation. A digital desk doesn't imply you can't have a keyboard if you want to. When he selects that paragraph, the feedback is projected just the same way as before, but now the camera OCRs the text in order to allow him to paste it into his electronic document. Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
I'm back from my trip. Are you ready to do my expenses?
Might as well do them now, good as time as any.
I have some receipts for you.
Oh, heavens. Alright, get a chair.
Okay, let's start.
Okay. Okay, so I take the total of your car rental, and I want it put over here in this box. I've got my little pad, and I choose car rental. I'm going to put that over into the explanation box. And today's date's the 5th of October. And the date of the hotel was the same as the car rental. I want the total to go into that box. That's the total of your expenses. Okay, so we're all done, and we've got to do is print this out.
Great.
And if you just sign it on the front.
Wow, lots of money. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm roughing out some sketches for a children's book I'm working on. Rather than drawing the trees all along the lane, I'll just snap a little picture of this one and then reduce it slightly for perspective and move it along the lane. Put one here, and I think I'll put one here, and another one just about here. And finally another here. To keep the old woman dry and warm, I'll put a nice slate roof on. But I could be here all day, so I'll just make a little patch, and then I'll have the system help me a little using my little fill button, which I now will press, and ta-da! There's my roof. But the little old lady likes to look out a dormer window, so I think I'll erase some of the slates. And I'll make her a nice dormer window with a big window in it. There.
In this last example, she replicates a snapshot of a tree, and she's using the distance between her fingers to indicate the bitmap scale. Here, she is using a paper button to tell the system to fill the roof with this pattern. But this pattern can still be erased, just like pencil marks. The system recognizes the eraser she's holding, and it blanks out the areas where it rubs.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
I'm David Smith. I'd like to introduce you to the Xerox 8010 Star information system. This is a new computer designed for office professionals. It consists of a processor, a large display screen, a keyboard, and a pointing device called the mouse. Stars are normally connected together by the Ethernet local area network. This not only allows stars to communicate with one another, but it also lets them share resources, such as file storage and printers. The mouse has a ball on the bottom that rotates as the mouse slides across a flat surface. This moves a cursor on the screen in corresponding motions. It has two buttons on top that can be sensed under program control. You can use these buttons to specify objects and destinations for commands. The keyboard consists of a standard typing array and three groups of function keys. The left group contains the generic functions: delete, copy, move, and show properties. These four are used throughout the system. For example, you use the same function key, move, to move a character in text, a line in an illustration, a fraction in an equation, or a document in a file drawer. The top group of keys consists of common text formatting functions, making text bold, italic, underlined, super or subscripted, or in a larger or smaller font. The right group of keys consists of miscellaneous functions for getting online assistance, defining and expanding abbreviations, stopping ongoing operations, and others. The display screen shows your working environment. We call this the desktop. It is an electronic analog for an office. On the screens are small pictures or icons representing familiar office objects. This turned black because I pointed to it with the mouse and clicked the mouse button. We call this selecting the object. Selected objects highlight in reverse video. You can then operate on the selection with the delete, copy, move keys, and other keys. Let me select some of the other icons on the desktop. This is a folder, a records file, a file drawer, 3270 and teletype terminals, printers, and in and out mail baskets. Using the move key, you can arrange your desktop in any way you like. Move is the most powerful command in the system. It replaces a large number of conventional computer commands, which we will point out as we go along. The copy command is also a powerful one in Star. It establishes a paradigm for creating. In order to create a new document, for example, you copy an existing one. Typically, Star users construct blank documents to act as form pad sources for new ones. Making a copy of one of these blank documents is like tearing a sheet off a pad of paper. The ability of users to make their own form pads is one example of the user tailorability built into the system. The Show Properties command allows you to display and change the properties of an object, such as the name of an icon. We will discuss properties later. In addition to moving, copying, deleting, and showing properties, you can open an icon to see what's inside. You do this by selecting the icon and pushing the Open key. The enlarged form is called the window. Every icon has its own window. This is a document window, displaying the contents of a document. Filing is done by moving an icon into or out of a file drawer. These are electronic analogs of the drawers in an office filing cabinet. File drawers are physically stored on file servers connected to the Ethernet. These are local ones stored on file servers in my building in Palo Alto. These are stored on file servers in Los Angeles. You can have as many or as few file drawers on your desktop as you want. Regardless of where they're stored, you interact with them in the same way. When you open a file drawer, it displays a filing window. Each object stored in the file drawer is represented by a miniature icon, a name, and some other information. The names need not be unique or even present. For example, there are 2 copies of the document named NCC script. The dates tell me which is the latest version. Filing is accomplished by editing filing windows. You can select an object with a mouse and move or copy it out to the desktop. This transfers the object from the file server over the Ethernet to the local disk attached to your Star workstation. You can also move it from the desktop into a file drawer or out of one file drawer and into another for straight server-to-server transfers. Moving deletes the object from its old location. Copying leaves the original behind unchanged. Similarly, there is no print command. Printing is accomplished by moving an object to a printer icon. When you do this, a special window called an option sheet automatically appears. This is a dedicated form-like environment that is widely used in Star to supply arguments to commands or to show properties of objects. Its virtue is that it makes all of the options visible. You don't have to remember what they are. In this case, you can specify the number of copies to print and whether you want the document repaginated before it is printed. Let's print this document and then walk over and pick up the output. As you can see, the screen closely approximates the appearance of a printed page. Mail is delivered to in-baskets. When you open an in-basket icon, a window appears which looks much like a filing window. The fields in the window are mailing related: the recipients of the mail, the date it was sent, who it was from, and the name of the item.
Speaking. It's one of the most natural things we do. It's also the basis of a remarkable research project at IBM. This is an experimental computer system that recognizes what I say. I talk, and my words appear on the computer screen. It has a business vocabulary of thousands of words, and it even knows the difference between words that sound alike but have different meanings. Watch this. Please write to Mrs. Wright right now. This computer system is another example of innovation at IBM. In fact, it's the most advanced voice recognition system of its kind, period.
You have just seen the making of 40 copies of a one-page document on an offset duplicator. Depending upon the circumstances, the job can take hours, sometimes days, due to work backlogged from many departments. You have just seen the creation of 40 copies of a one-page document made on the Xerox 2400. Anyone can do it in minutes. Now, Without going into all the technicalities, what is the difference? Why does it sometimes take days to get needed copies? It's a matter of steps, each one with a built-in potential for delay and error. With offset duplicating, the original document is usually typed. A requisition or job ticket must be prepared. Someone usually hand carries the original and job ticket to a master maker, where a master is made. After receiving the master, the duplicator operator begins his make-ready. Then the copies are run off. And finally, the copies are delivered. 7 steps. There's a dramatic difference when the Xerox 2400 is used on the same job. The original document is prepared, and the copies are generated at the point of need. 2 steps instead of 7. A big difference. Is there a department manager who has never wished for a machine right in his own department for short-run duplicating? The Xerox 2400 makes this wish a reality. Now at last, documents can be created almost instantly, without walking, without make-ready, without masters, without preparing requisitions. Going far beyond the mere satisfying of short-run duplicating needs, the Xerox 2400 has at its very foundation the ability to create new documents. Basically, 3 techniques are used: addition, deletion, and substitution. Techniques destined to save a great deal of money for a great many businesses. Any good 20-pound bound paper may be used. Addition. Deletion. Substitution. Creating new documents, adding, deleting, substituting, the Xerox 2400 brings to businesses everywhere new possibilities for speed, accuracy, and economy. This quiet miracle will generate up to 499 documents at a single dial setting, then obediently shut itself off. Although there are many systems for business communication, 1 or more of 3 fundamental systems are used by most businesses. The Xerox 2400 is ideally suited to the needs of these 3 key systems. Shorthand names for the 3 are sales order invoicing, purchase order receiving, and production order writing. In the sales order invoicing system, many documents are required to ensure efficiency, good customer relations, and positive control. Traditional communication methods may require the preparation of duplicating masters for either the spirit or offset process. Still other methods call for the use of many carbon forms and much repetitive writing. The Xerox 2400 eliminates almost all of this. And because xerography is a dry process, it also ends this problem. Because the Xerox 2400 creates documents, instead of merely copying them, the original sales order is used to create all the necessary forms. Using the addition, deletion, substitution techniques with the sales order, Anyone in the office can handle the sales order invoicing system. In seconds, newly created forms are put to work. Shipping order, packing list, customer acknowledgement, invoices, and accounts receivable. And in additional seconds, action copies of the accepted order are available to the sales department, the warehouse, the accounting department, and the production control department. And all without a master, without a highly skilled operator, but with improved copy quality. The typical purchase order system is handled equally well by the Xerox 2400. Using simple overlays, all subsequent documents are created from the original purchase requisition. The risk of error in repetitious typing is eliminated. Labor costs are reduced, and valuable hours are saved. In an ordinary production order writing system, there's a great deal of repetitious writing and clerical time spent in scheduling manufacturing. And because a single item may be scheduled for production many times in a year, this kind of repetitive multiplicity may be repeated as often as 10 or more times a year. It's an expensive communication operation. With a Xerox 2400, the original production order, plus a rescheduling overlay to include the new date, production order number, project number, and quantity needed, make present communication systems obsolete by turning the production order writing system into a streamlined paper flow process. Yes, the Xerox 2400 brings many advantages to all three of the most used business communication systems. Documents are created at the point of need, in line with production. And where system work calls for Xerox versatility at a smaller volume, the remarkable Xerox 420 is recommended. Functioning as convenient satellites on the perimeter of the 2400 service area, the 420 provides Xerox capability instantly available to nearby personnel. Take any short-run job, anything from an important announcement to the most sophisticated technical reporting. The Xerox 2400 provides a happier solution to short-run duplication problems. Taking its name from the 2400 crisp black and white documents it generates every hour, the Xerox 2400 needs no highly trained personnel. The most unskilled operator makes sharp, permanent copies on ordinary paper the first try, and every try thereafter, from black or colored inks or pencils. There's no master, no wasted material, no wasted time, no make-ready, no cleanup. When documents are generated at the point of need, paperwork simply can't interfere with more pressing business. And what does all this cost? The answer to that question is the most exciting part of the story, because in many applications the cost per copy with the Xerox 2400 will be comparable to Spirit, mimeograph, or offset. And to make the Xerox 2400 harmonize with any surroundings, 5 sets of color panels are available. The modern magic of the Xerox 2400 is a little like Aladdin's lamp, awaiting only a touch to do man's bidding. The speed, economy, simplicity, and convenience of the Xerox 2400 masterless reproduction challenge the imagination. The touch of a button speeds the flow of virtually any documented communication. Paperwork is put into proper perspective. A business servant, not a master. Only Xerox takes thought from mind to paper so easily and so well. What's the difference? Xerox makes the difference.